I always thought a honeymoon was supposed to be the beginning of forever, a chapter filled with sunsets, laughter, and the kind of intimacy that only comes from knowing you've chosen the right person. For me, it started that way until the cracks began to show. We'd flown to Santorini just 2 days after our wedding. The whitewashed houses clung to cliffs like they were holding on for dear life, and the ocean below looked like liquid sapphire. I remember thinking, if this is marriage, I've hit the jackpot. Ethan, my new husband, was attentive, charming, and couldn't seem to keep his eyes off me. But then came the late-night calls. The first one was at 1:14 a.m. He slipped out of bed quietly, not knowing I was half awake. I heard the muffled sound of his voice from the balcony, soft and low, like he was speaking to someone who shouldn't hear me in the background. When he returned, I asked who it was. "Work," he said, without meeting my eyes. "There's an emergency with a client." I believed him. Why wouldn't I? But the calls kept coming, always late at night, always hushed. On the fourth night, curiosity got the better of me. I pretended to be asleep and followed him out to the balcony, my bare feet silent against the cool tile. That's when I heard it. His voice was warm, familiar, and tender. "I miss you too," he said softly. "You know this doesn't change how I feel about you." My stomach tightened like a fist. I pressed my hand over my mouth, my mind racing. Who was he talking to? The answer came quickly, without mercy. Her name was Mia. I learned it the next morning when he left his phone charging by the bed while he showered. I didn't even mean to snoop. The screen just lit up with her name and a message that read, "I hate sleeping alone. When will you come back to me?" I could have thrown the phone across the room. I could have screamed. But I didn't. Instead, I waited until breakfast. We sat at a small table overlooking the ocean, the sun casting a golden glow over everything, making it look far more beautiful than it felt. I stirred my coffee slowly before speaking. "Who's Mia?" I asked, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. His spoon froze midair. A flicker of panic crossed his face before he masked it with a half-smile. "She's a friend. From before us." "Before us?" I repeated, my heart pounding. "Or during us?" That's when the truth came spilling out like poison. He and Mia had been together before we met, but they never officially ended it. Even after he proposed to me, he'd kept seeing her, convincing himself it was just unfinished business. I felt like the ground beneath me had vanished. This wasn't just cheating. This was betrayal woven into the fabric of our marriage before it even began. Why marry me at all? I demanded, my voice shaking now. His eyes were wet, but I didn't care. "Because I love you," he said. "But I love her too." There it was. The ugliest truth of all. The rest of the honeymoon passed in a blur. We went through the motions, smiling for strangers, posing for pictures, pretending. But every glance at him felt like a knife twist. I couldn't stop imagining all the moments he'd shared with her and all the lies he'd told me to make it possible. When we returned home, I packed my bags. No screaming, no drama, just a quiet, devastating ending. Because sometimes betrayal doesn't come with fireworks. Sometimes it comes with a whisper in the dark, a name on a phone, and the realization that the honeymoon was never real. And that's how I learned the truth. The vows we took were built on a lie, and the man I thought was my forever had always belonged to someone else.